Okay, we're back on this Vista or RAV4, I can't remember what it was, doesn't matter. But they just put in the new factory condenser. Now I hopefully released a video just about this. They were going to put on an aftermarket condenser, but I explained in the video that I released prior that the aftermarket condenser did not come with new O-rings. It did not come with that Toyota little plastic disposable clip. Let's see if I could zoom in on it in here. Get it. They have this all closed up, unfortunately, but I think I could get some light in there. Come on. It's back there. It's not. There we go. Do you see that clip back there? You see that little chrome line? You see that plastic clip? That is a clip that breaks really easy. It must be replaced every time. Do not try to reuse it, and it comes with O-rings when you buy the OEM. When you buy the aftermarket, you're SOL. And so I told them that they have an aftermarket. Oh, and on top of that, remember, you guys always ask what kind of oil and how much oil. So on this Toyota factory condenser, it gives you the oil. It's sealed in a metal can. It won't become moisture contaminated. This is what you could put in your oil injector and then inject into the system. And so it comes with the oil, the clip, and O-rings. Your aftermarket condensers don't come with that. Somebody did notify me that there was one manufacturer, one company that did give them clips and O-rings. I can't remember if they said they gave them the oil or not. But don't think you're saving money unless you're buying an aftermarket condenser. If they give you oil and they give you O-rings and then they give you the clip, because that's a one-time plastic disposable clip, then the aftermarket condenser is nearly compatible or of equal level to the OEM. But the one drawback is they usually have less cooling refrigerant tubes and less fins and less internal fins on the cooling passage tubes. That's another drawback. But other than that, so that's how this one's going. Right now I'm performing a nitrogen pressure test. So I have the nitrogen hooked up, and yeah, don't pay attention. I'm not over 1,000 PSI. I dropped my gauges and bent my thing. I can go by feel. I know I've been doing this since before I was a teenager. But I know what the pressure is inside here. Plus, I have it hooked up to the digital gauges, and it's open here. And as I crank this in, I could literally read the pressure going up. So this is a hard shut-off expansion valve. So I have 200 PSI on the high side. The expansion valve and the compressor do not allow the gas to go over to the low side, but it's only really the high side that I want to test that the technician properly installed that little clip in there, the one down in there. But even if he did not install it correctly, you can push it in and it could be at an angle on a bind where the line comes out. And under static pressure, you can still pass this test. And that little clip, if it was not properly installed, it could still blow out later on, because what will happen is you'll have the expansion of metal as the hot refrigerant gas going there. You'll have the vibration of the car going down the road. And so you'll have the line vibrating as you're going over lumps. So you can vibrate that loose if the clip was not installed. So it could pass all my tests, not leaking under vacuum, not leaking under pressure, not leaking while it's idling right here and I'm getting nice cold air. But then this customer takes this car out, drives down the road, a minute later, an hour later, or 5 months later, that line just blows off because it was not clipped in correctly. So this is the test I perform. Unfortunately, they already had it put together. Some of my shops know, and they've learned from bad experiences. If they can, and I could get to them on time, they always leave the front bumpers off, so I could do a little tug test. I'll have it under pressure, and I'll just tug. I'll look at it visually with my eyes. I'll push it in, see if it snaps anymore. It does a little click, and then I'll tug on it a little bit, just a little bit, to make sure it's in there. Toyota made a really big mistake using this little clip. It's causing a lot of problems. My small nitrogen tank, when I'm just doing a quick flush, what I was going to do first, but then I remembered this was the guy with the problem. That's it on this one. And I could perform, say I wanted to perform a standing nitrogen pressure decay test. So I'll show you a quick one right here. So let me just bleed over some of this into the low side. And let me give a little bit more nitrogen in there. Okay, it'd help if I opened it up. I'm just gonna run you through quickly. I'm not gonna perform the whole test. Okay, so here we have pressures, okay? High and low side at 165 PSI on this particular right now at this time. So now I'm gonna turn off my supply of nitrogen. So you turn off your supply of nitrogen. Now, for the next few minutes, you can have hoses that are slowly expanding depending on the temperature and everything like that. And you can have lines that push back and O-ring seals that slightly deform when you add this pressure. So let it stand for 10 minutes. Go take a coffee break, go do some other procedures, your paperwork, whatever. Let this stand. Then after this stands for 10 or 15 minutes, then you come back and you hit the tightness test. You hit the tightness test, boom, we're in the tightness test right now. Then you go from tightness test and you hit enter for starting. Now it starts a timer and it starts, so you see the 0.0, it actually reads loss of pressure within 1/10 of 1 PSI. That's how accurate this gauge is. So you could go away for 10 minutes and after 10 minutes, because of the heat, and if you have a hot engine and your hoses are starting to expand and other hoses, or you have an engine running because you're doing coolant at the same time, for whatever reason, if I started heating this up, I might get expansion of the hoses and I could lose. I could get expansion of the gas and the pressure can go up. And here, what do we got here? Here I actually, you seen it just tick up. It was a 0.1. All right, so that's enough. I'm not going into the detail on this. So let me close this down. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slowly bleed off the nitrogen, dry nitrogen, not shop compressed air with a lot of moisture in it. Dry nitrogen. Let me turn this off. It's off. Let's bleed that out. Got that crack back. And I have the low side open, the high side. I always go in the normal path of circulation. So I added my pressure through the high side when I started, and I'll bleed the entire nitrogen out there and flush, because I already had this under vacuum and I already flushed it once with nitrogen already, but I was just showing you the high pressure test. Okay, there we go. So I just want to bleed a little bit. So you see the pressure coming down. I'm bleeding the nitrogen out of the low side. The high side is closed off. So everything has to sweep through the entire system, go through the expansion valve, sweep and go through all the coils of the evaporator, come out of the evaporator, come down this line and come out this. So basically you just flush through and you sweep through with nitrogen, helping remove moisture and any air that's inside the system, normal atmospheric moist air. Again, by just doing that. Okay, so let's open this up some more. It's going down. And so now it's ready to vacuum as soon as it's close to 0. I still have the high side off. I'm gonna open up the low side most of the way now. Now I'm gonna close off the nitrogen and I'm gonna perform my vacuum. So now here's the vacuum pump. Now I'm drawing vacuum on the low side. Still do not have the high side open because I'm removing the nitrogen out of this high side line, making it take its longest path all the way from the compressor through going through all the tubes of the condenser, going through the receiver dryer and the dryer desiccant sock, going through the last 4 to 6 passages on the condenser, that is your subcooling passage, coming up this liquid line, coming here, traveling all the way to the expansion valve and doing that route that I explained again, just to come out at this speed. That's a complete sweep. And as you can see, we are getting down there. So that's enough explaining on this. Video is getting too long and I need to throw some oil in there as I'm talking and videoing instead of doing my job. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Oh, let's get out of this test. Okay, so let's see where we stopped. Let me get out of there. right back up. Because it won't show you microns while you're in the vacuum decay test. There we go. We're down to 1,013 microns right now, just pulling out of the low side. I'm about to open up the high side right now.